You wanna be with me.
Get you out.
The Violence of Summer is something that Simon and I started writing one day, just the two of us. And we knew there was something very special in there, and I put it all in a machine, in a computer, the whole thing. And we left it.
We've actually made a story, because the song is a story. If you look at the lyric, if you listen to it, you'll realise it's actually a ballad about two people who run off together.
Keep it up. That's right.
I think when we kind of we were getting towards the end of recording, and we said, well, we haven't really got a pop song, you know. Maybe that's the one. Maybe that's the one that we should work at. And then it happened very, very quickly.
Guys break heads in the sugar shack. Don't give me a drink, I don't wanna get too stoned.
I kind of insisted that I was the only guy that could play in this band, the only perfect guitar player they can possibly find. And I just sent them some videos that I had done with Missing Persons and a little bio of, you know, I played with Frank Zappa, Missing Persons, started my own band. We were on the same record label, and, you know, I had a track record of songs that were played on the radio already, so I felt like I was, you know, they were getting more than a guitarist if they got me in the band. Plus, I look cute and everything, and it just fits the whole, just fits
Hey, he was just perfect, man.
Yeah, perfect.
I got highly recommended, and I got a phone call from them, and we hit it off. John and I really hit it off.
We realised that to get the best out of a drummer and a guitarist, we really had to involve them in the songwriting process. On the big thing, we had Warren, but we really kind of said, well, you know, when the songs are written, if you come and play on, we want you to play in this spot here and this spot there. And we weren't really getting the best, and, you know, with Warren, who's got, you know, so much to offer, and likewise Sterling.
Well, when we started Liberty, we just finished a 6-month world tour, and we decided at the beginning of the tour that this was the band we were going to write the record with and go into the studio. So instead of taking a big break, we went straight into a writing room after the tour. Everyone was exhausted but still hyper and full of energy, and we thought we've got to transfer this energy into the songs. And so we wrote for a solid sort of 14-day period and got 3/4 of the album in that time, and then took a break and came back and finished it all off. And I think that's why this album has so much excitement and energy, is because of the nervous tension that was there and the anticipation of writing new songs together as a 5-piece again. And Warren and Sterling, I must say, I think have added everything to the sound we could possibly have wanted. We really picked great musicians.
Everybody's really down to earth, so when you, if you meet them to play with them in a band, or if you meet them to just say hello, or, you know, whatever, everybody's very down to earth.
Are both so creative and into making modern music.
The main bulk of the album was written on a farm, and it was one of those, one of 30 ideas.
Well, in the beginning, it wasn't as I was coming in as a full band member. I was coming in to do a tour, and it just clicked on tour, immediately clicked when we were rehearsing.
generally, what you'd find is that one day, you know, John would be orchestrating it, and maybe in the afternoon he'd kind of lose energy a bit, and say Warren would take over. And the next day I'd go in there with Nick, and I'd be kind of pushing it out, and then the rest of the band would come in, and me and Nick could kind of lead off in a different direction with that song. And it works in quite different ways, but it worked very easily and very naturally, and there were no written rules, and there was no constitution or anything. The band has no constitution, which is really nice because it's free.
I tend to think of the three-piece lineup as the corporate executive mode, and it kind of seemed, I'd always felt kind of frustrated that we couldn't actually perform the songs that we wrote as we were. So it definitely, the writing period that we had after the last tour, which was really where the nucleus of this album was originated, was yeah, I mean it was kind of, I hadn't really experienced anything like it since the very early days of the band.
This record, there was really no preconceived ideas at the beginning. We would just jam around and you know, whatever seemed to work the best. You know, if I heard something as we were jamming, I'd say, oh, let's try this part, you know, and we'd do that.
We have so many ideas between 5 of us anyway. To try and consolidate them is enough of a task without having a producer that says, oh, I think we should do this, or I think we should do that. Chris Kimsey isn't that at all. He's somebody who really just wants to get the best performances out of everybody in the band.
He was the one who pulled the strings. Not the strings that made us move, but the string that drew us all together and got us into the studio.
He really wants the music to go in the direction that the band want it to go in, and he understands music very well. He understands the dynamics of music, and he understands the dynamics of people's personalities. So he really is the adjudicator, the umpire, whatever you want to call it, and actually the perfect person for us at this stage.
And on top of that, really keeping an eye and making sure that we don't go off on tangents that just don't work. And you know, and he really was the general overseer. And the credit is Duran, produced by Chris Kimsey with Duran Duran.
As emphatic one is about the sound and the style of the record you're making at the moment, you know, there's another 4 guys that are going to have as emphatic an idea as. I think the only thing that we agree on is that we want to make something different from the last record, and as different as the current mode.
It's just a mixture of, it's the 5 of us, and it's like all our influences and just what we listen to. It wasn't like, well, we're going to make an R&B record, we're going to make a rock record. We just played, and that's what happened. We weren't strategic about it at all. You know?
This record was written by a 5-piece band. That's myself, John, Warren, and Sterling, and Nick, of course. And recorded by the band, the same band, who were full members of the band, and were totally self-sufficient. And we were able to go into the studio and just and let it flow out of us.
Well, to compare ourselves with Spandau, I mean, it's something that I talked about with Gary a lot, and in a sense we've been very lucky in that we've been able to change the actual personnel in the band, and that's where it's been kind of lucky. We've gone away, we've made records with other people. I mean, you know, between us we've worked with Sting and Robert Palmer and God knows, you know, a lot of people, and Spandau have been working with the same people. They've been working in the same 5. So we've had a lot more opportunity to grow and to be influenced by other players.
I actually think it would be a great record to play live, and I'm sure we will sooner or later, but it'll probably be after the next record.
They're going to sound great live, but they're going to sound even better when we have another 10 or 12, and we have all this new material. Plus, it's just the predictability of having album tour, and then, you know, it would be good to be away a little bit.
We will play this music, but what we want to do is we want to finish doing this, go back in the studio, write another album, and then we'll have a new repertoire. And we'll actually have a different set of music to play, and we'll try that out. And we'll only do the old songs in the encores.
I also think when you go out and play a live tour, it should be something very exciting, and it should be something met with a certain amount of anticipation.
I'm inspired now, and I think we're in the position of approaching it differently.
I think first we must establish this record.
I really love the Liberty album. I really love the way it came out. But there was times during the recording of it I was going, damn, this song is so good, I hope we can do something better. And then when I went through all my tapes of like my demo stuff, I'm going, be real easy to make a better album, and this stuff is happening, you know. So it's a good feeling, because I know, even though we haven't even gotten through promotion of this record, I know we could make something that is just, you know, really, really strong.
I do think this is a large step forward for us, because we're back to a 5-piece band, and I really think that Notorious and Big Thing were the stepping stones to this album.
He's a metalhead. She looks me up and down, talking dirty eyes. Sweet saying, boy, baby, I can lick you anytime. Keep it up. That's right. Here we go again. Bit later, I'm gonna run into around the back, while other guys break heads in the sugar shack. Don't give me a drink, I don't wanna get too stoned. Then we're gonna see who's gonna take who home. The violence of summer, and love's taking over. It starts with desire, ends up undercover. Those lips will make me right. You may look down, but don't think twice. So death is on the way. So what, man? I still want to play. 1, 2. This will get you out of your mind. This will pick you up. Let's go. Maybe take a ride, going south where a mother rides. Before bad news catches up, we still got a little time. We live it all so far away. One thing is sure, we shouldn't stay. I take it all, China gonna get the run around, a run around. The violence of summer, and love's taking over. It starts with desire, ends up undercover. China now, China na na na, China now, China na na na, China now, China na na na, China now, China now. The violence of summer, and love's taking over. It starts with desire, ends up undercover. Love's taking over. Yes, love's taking over. Love's taking over.
Cool.